Welcome back, everyone. Yet another time we can get together this time of year for another Hacker Hangouts. And this one's about gift giving. Not gift giving, gift receiving, gifts for geeks, a brainstorm of things we buy ourselves after everyone fails to get us the gifts we actually want. And hopefully we can avoid that with some of this conversation. How are you guys doing? It's a beautiful time. I have a fresh cup of coffee.
Day? Yeah, it's a cup of coffee. I was up till 3:30 last night going through and rearranging my wall, getting things actually up and running. So I'm like super excited. I'm pumped and got my Death Wish coffee. So I'm ready to go. How about y'all?
Things are quiet over here this morning. Just kind of rolled out of bed no more than half an hour ago. So I'm just enjoying myself. I got the new Final Fantasy 14 expansion.
Ooh,
so that's fun.
I played a game on my phone for I haven't had time to play games because I've just hit my priorities have been elsewhere, but I played Wild Rift on my phone, and that was actually quite a bit of fun for someone who actually enjoyed League of Legends. They have one of the best, most supportive communities I've ever had on a game. Everyone's raging right now. They're the worst.
I was
They're
gonna
terrible.
Say, what are you? Did you just get a sponsorship and this is why we're talking about being
Oh, that will be the day when it's sponsored by League of Legends, the best and most supportive community.
How's it going with you, Gulo? It sounds like you're in an alternate location and
I am in a nondescript movie studio right now, so if I keep muting and get really, really loud, then that's not me shooting and killing people, I promise.
I'm not even gonna comment on that one. It's too soon. Yeah. So we're going back. I think so when we threw out ideas for this stream for this, I guess I had two people ask me, are we going to be doing a podcast? Yes. For anyone watching, listening, the goal is to grip the audio from these, turn it into a podcast. I just need to work out a few details. Gator actually has written an entire SOP on here's how you do it. I'll link to that somewhere, and then as I go through it, I'm going to make a video on it of here's how I use. This is the tools we use. But yes, it's going to be turned into one. But man, okay, so let's jump in. What the idea here was, there's so much when it comes to gift giving. I think oftentimes we're trying to figure out what can we give to especially those in this space. And then when I started thinking about the topic a little bit more, I got really excited because I realized there is so much experience between all four of us, and we're all in very, very different verticals. Where I have a background in penetration testing and security testing, and now more entrepreneurship, running a business and consulting. Gator is on the orchestration end. Gator, what would you say in a one sentence that your main background is, besides cabinet maker, which is just a whole another story?
It goes from routing to routing. No, I would say when it comes to
really, I'm gonna call it out. That was amazing.
You're welcome. Just for you.
I appreciate that.
Fantastic. So I would say when it comes to community building and knowledge share. So for me, making sure that I'm able to gather that information and then disperse that as quickly as possible, because that's kind of what I do in my day job as well. So
you also do system orchestration too,
absolutely. So infrastructure building, when we're talking about automating anything and everything, so where if you touch it once, you're going to do that again and again. Press a button and do it for you. So automation is a lot of my job.
And before I throw it to the other two, Gulo and Gowrie for sort of a little bit of background on what they do. The goal was I wanted to get each one of our backgrounds and then talk through gifts for someone who's in your vertical, who's just starting, and then something you might give someone who's been in that industry for a while. And then I'm sure at times I'll throw out a couple questions and we'll have other ones like, what is your favorite gift you've ever gotten? What's a good gift that you've had this year? And then we'll have some cross-practice stuff, things like physical security that we all love, and some of the gifts that you might give someone who's just learning how to do some of the physical security or who has been it for a while. Gowrie, what can you give like a one sentence description of like what it is you do? And I know there's what you do for work, but then what is your passions been recently?
I mean, so the simplified things. I'm more of a traditional software developer. It's just that I happen to help make analysis tools that people utilize to do vulnerability research, right? But the vast majority of my job is like I don't do any of the reverse engineering stuff generally. I don't do any build tools. So you can think of me as much more of a normal software developer in that regard. But my other passions, as you can see in the background, I have music, instruments. I sing, I play guitar, play piano, and really, to be honest, I think people in this industry tend to fall into. I mean, it's a range of camps, but you can kind of bucket people into one of two things, which is like technology as a whole consumes their life, and that's what they're passionate about, and that's what their hobbies are, and that's what gets them out of bed in the morning. And then you have the people that do this as a profession, and when they step away from work, they don't do it at all. I feel like I fall way more into that camp, right? Because if I'm sitting on a computer working, I'm getting paid for it, generally speaking. I don't have a whole lot of hobbies other than music production that have me sitting in front of a computer. Well, music production and video games that have me sitting in front of a computer for the most part. So like a lot of those hobbyist things, I'm not the right person to ask, what do you get a software developer? Because I'm going to be like, you're asking me, what do you get a musician? Right. So that's kind of the perspective I bring into this.
All right. What about you, Gulo?
I actually had this conversation with my boss last night. I am a legitimate systems engineer. I cover a broad spectrum of everything. So databases, programming, infrastructure, networking, blah, 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 a whole bunch of random crap and everything. And I develop, design, and architect global systems for companies. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I build those things. Most of the times I build those things as well. But for the most part, I'm a designer and an architect that just comes up with crazy ideas.
Yeah,
as far as what I...
Oh, I was going to say, this doesn't just... Go, you keep going, sorry.
As far as what I do in my free time, I build stuff. I drink and I build stuff. Mm-hmm. Whether it's like electronics or playing with lasers or sound or woodworking, it doesn't really. I just build random crap all the time.
It's the Tyrion Lannister. I get drunk and build things.
Yes.
What I was going to interject is like I think while these things specify like this is typically what we do, there's obviously passions which go beyond that into like again making and breaking. There was something that Gowrie had talked about. I don't even know what stream this was on, but talking about the difference between like a maker and a breaker, someone who actually makes new things and someone who we'll say disassembles and looks at old things.
That was the what is the definition of a hacker stream? And then we got into, is it someone, because you have the traditional definition, which is someone who hacks things together to do something that they weren't necessarily intended to do, and then have the mainstream media definition, which is someone who breaks computers for nefarious reasons. Mm-hmm. And then you have like that person in between who is both, right? And so like what is the definition of hacker? And that's why we broke it down to makers and breakers, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good way of saying it. Look, let's jump into breakers, because this is my vertical, which is like pen testing and security testing has always been at the core of what I do. And I've now, since starting my own company and being the chief innovation officer, which means you do everything and innovate, and it's great. It's moved a little bit, but I think for starting out the conversation of like, what would you get a new penetration tester, someone who wants to break into the security industry, very interested in it. I think it falls into a couple different categories. I think one is you want to give them a lab environment. And that doesn't have to be like buy all of the computers. By the way, if you are looking for like servers, like physical servers, and you don't want to use like cloud ones, eBay. eBay is the greatest place.
Oh, yeah.
You can get like ridiculous. I have the two servers I have in my house are two like dual Xeon ridiculousness with like 150 or 170 gigs of RAM, and I got them for like $600 each. It's ridiculous. But I think a great gift for like a newbie, again, I use that term like everyone's a newbie, but is infrastructure. And the way you could do it would be like like AWS or Droplets or DigitalOcean, like giving a gift card where they can spin up their own infrastructure on those systems, and they can do it without like pricing. It would be a weird gift, but I feel like it'd be so cool to be like, hey, you have $200 of infrastructure to just dork around with. I think it'd be a cool one. Gator, what about you on that one?
So I love that idea. Talking about being able to build up your own infrastructure, whether it's physical or if it's online. So I've used DigitalOcean or Linode in the past. Hashtag not sponsored. Going through and getting a Raspberry Pi is a great way for people to get into any of their DIY projects. There are so many different things you can do with the Pi. Prices have gone up a little bit because of the chip shortage, but you've got anything from the cheap $10 Raspberry Pi to the Raspberry Pi W02 that's more powerful, all the way up to the Pi 4, which can almost act as a desktop replacement. So Raspberry Pi is the way that I would typically go if you want to give them something physical, and you can get a good pack to get somebody up and running with all the included gear for less than $100.
The Katana kit, I think, or is it Cana kit? Cana kit. There we go.
Cana kit? Yeah.
They usually have pretty good ones. Gator, two things I want to ask you. One, you just built a really cool project using a Pi and using e-ink. Do you have that behind you, which you can grab?
I do. The fact is, this guy that's right as I'm just this guy right here. So it's the Inky from Pi Peroni, and I'll drop a link to it. But this is a 7-color e-ink display. And what I can go through and do here is let me SSH over to this bad boy. And you're actually able to go through and update whatever's on the screen. E-ink takes super low power, which is cool. And then you can actually unplug it, and it's going to keep the same information on screen. So much like your like these small projects when we're talking about the Ponmagachis. That's a Raspberry Pi Zero and an e-ink display. I'm almost there now. So Pi Peroni.
While you're looking at that, Praxis gives a really good point of be really careful buying Pis this year. And Gator, I'll have another question for you in a second. But their prices are all over the place. The other piece of this is there are clones. Like there are clones of the Pi, and some of them actually work really well. But sometimes those clones are sold under the name of Raspberry Pi. So the best way to do that is make sure you're buying from like a actual like.
So I will link
trusted distributor.
Trusted distributor.
Vilaros,
Thank you.
Vilaros is my favorite case as well because it's an all aluminum case, and this should be updating in the background when I'm talking about this now. It takes about 15 seconds for it to actually push over. So along with that, I'm going to drop a couple links to ones because you can get ripped off very easily if people are trying to build their own kits. There's one or two, like I said, that's about $100 range. And the Raspberry Pi 4s run hotter than any of the other Pis in the past. So you want to make sure to get, I go for passive cooling. I've done both active and passive cooling. The best one that I've ever found is called the Vilaros all aluminum case, and it's completely passive. I will drop a link to that real quick here. Cool. And then there you go. This has been updated. So there's the Pi Inky, and now it's us from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, the most of the Cana kits and most of the Pi kits out there come with a little tiny. It's adorable. It's a little tiny case fan. Like the most of the Cana kits come with a case, and then there's like you don't have to put the fan on. It just kind of slips in, and you look at it and you're like, this isn't gonna do anything. But no, it actually does. Like, and they come with little heat sinks. It's kind of adorable.
The one
Right.
I got, which I was really happy with, and I have to find a link and throw it in there, but it was a case I found on Amazon where the entire case is metal, and it has like this dome, like I don't know, concave piece which sits on top of the chip. So the entire thing, the whole case turns into the heatsink, and it's great. I use it as like a redundant DNS and my print server in my house.
So here's the one that I would go through and suggest. This is a Raspberry Pi 4 gigabytes of RAM. They actually have it in stock. For when it's not the chip shortage, you're talking about usually about $110. So spending about $20 more is not horrible. And this comes with the complete kit, that everything that you need. So the fully aluminum starter kit, it comes with the SD card, comes with thermal paste, and your power supply. So all you need to supply is a keyboard and mouse and a monitor. So this is a complete kit, and the little there's a little book that comes with it as well. So if you're just getting in, this literally teaches you from start how to get up and running.
And what's great about too with Raspberry Pi is it now runs a version of Docker. So if you're spinning up like vulnerable, just like we were pulling it back to pen testing, like if you're spinning up vulnerable images to test, Docker's a great way to do it. It's how like we run our testing lab and things like that, where we can spin up Docker images, people can play around with them, and you can run them on a Raspberry Pi. The other one, which would be a great gift for a beginner for pen testing, would be an annual license for Hack the Box. Now, that's not there's not as much training material on there. Normally, we'd push them to like try Hack Me and ones like that. But I think so. I'll bring the beginner side to. I think buying infrastructure for them to be able to spin up their own lab is awesome, and then some training materials, and then maybe even like a gift card to like a No Starch Press, because there's some really good books just for beginner testers, and I'm really a big fan of No Starch. Again,
So-
not a sponsor.
Can I chime in here?
Yeah.
So this is the hard part, because you don't necessarily know. Like, people would be like, "Oh, I'm interested in cybersecurity. I'm interested in pen testing." It's like such a broad statement. So you may have a friend or a loved one that's interested in these fields, and you might be thinking, "Oh, I'll get them something." If you pick them a random book,
Yeah.
it's going to sit on a shelf. It's never going to get read, right? However, if you can start asking them the questions. "Oh, have you tried Hack the Box? Have you thought about buying the premium subscription to that?" And fish for answers in that way. I wouldn't just go out and buy any of these random services. I would query whether or not the way I like to say it is, for me personally, I had never thought about AWS credits or Azure credits as a gift, but like, to me, I go, "Oh, I like receiving consumables as opposed to stuff." And to me, that's a consumable. And I'm like, "Oh, that actually is a really good gift." Like, getting some Amazon credits is really dope, because there's just random times I want a Linux instance just totally, and I don't, keep one laying around. So that's kind of cool. I would actually ask people, like, "Hey, do you use AWS? Do you use Azure?" Like, just straight up ask if they use it. And then you'll have the information as to whether or not that could be a good gift. If they use it, yeah, that's like an easy gift. And it's
I mean, like,
thoughtful.
What about like premium subscriptions for like GitHub or things like that? Would you like those, or no? That's like you kind of already have those for work.
I think GitHub is one of those ones that a lot of people just won't need the premium subscription in their personal life. I was actually going to say this. The hard one for me, and especially I think for a lot of people in this realm, gadgets and doodads and hardware itself, to me, typically doesn't feel like a good gift, because I buy those things when I have a use for them. And if I receive a random piece of hardware, it's going on the shelf. Like, I just don't have a use for it, and I'm not going to find a reason to use it. Now, if they're trying to set up a media server, now you have something that you can use to think about that. But so the way I would look at those things, the hard part is really software. Software costs money. Let's take IDA Pro, for example. Like, let's say someone wants to learn how to use IDA Pro because their workplace or a job they want to get uses it, as opposed to Ghidra. You might consider helping them buy one of the low-end licenses for IDA Pro. But you have to, like, these are the areas where, like, you kind of have to have a little bit more information about what it is they do and what it is they're interested in. So you have to fish for a lot more information. For me, for example, music production, music production software is expensive. I think I paid for the cheapest version of Studio One, and it's still like $100-$200, and you don't get you get the standard DAW features out of it, but you don't get any of the plugins. So you might ask a person like me, like, "Hey, what audio production plugins would you buy?" Or would you get, but that you just don't want to buy, you don't want to spend the money for yourself because you don't think you'll use them as often. Like that stuff like that is a really good question. And so, yeah, I would fish. The hard one is like the thing that we use on every day, regardless of whether, you're a hacker or, a maker in our sense, is software. And so querying your hacker buddies as to what software it is they use and what software it is they wish they had is, I think, one of the best questions you can ask them to fish for, present ideas.
I think Taylor, a good point on storage. Storage is a hard one. I think storage though is a really difficult one because like buying like things like a NAS or Backblaze or like Google App Storage, like everyone has their own way they do it, so it'd be really difficult, I feel like, to buy it outside of like just shucking drives and going like, hey, you can also have this. Yeah, Gulo's at Apathy. Gulo's at an undisclosed location as he normally is. I'll double down on what Gowrie said. I'm sorry, like that. I like Hack5 and I like a lot of their stuff they do. I like they have a great channel. Almost all their hardware I have from there, like I've gotten from gifts from people. Like it sits on a shelf. I don't use it because there's like even like a wireless assessment. The Pineapple's really fun, but if I'm doing a wireless assessment, I'm going to have a computer with me and I'm going to go sit down and have like all my alpha cards and all of that. And even if I do interface with it, it's going to just sit there. Like the rubber duckies and whatnot, they sit around and they're really expensive. So it's hardware and gadgets and stuff like that, unless there is a very specific purpose, I wouldn't go. And that's not bashing on Hack5. It's just I wouldn't buy those things for people unless they have a very distinct purpose for them.
I'm going to jump in and agree with you there on the point of if you don't have a use case for a tool, having the newest shiny isn't worth it, because if it's going to sit on the shelf, there's other things that you can invest your time, your interest, and your monies into as well. So make sure that you're focusing on what is interesting to you and investing in that. Because yes, I'm in the same position to where I've wanted to break into that field. I'm like, ooh, it's a new shiny. I'm building scripts for my home. I'm building scripts for my hackerspace. Yeah, that just hasn't happened when it comes to professional side. So get something that's going to be practical is what it really comes down to. On other resources, when we're talking, I've tried to drop no starts in there. I'd also say for a subscription basis, if somebody's looking to get into more learning, either a subscription to a Cloud Guru or a Pentester Academy, and not necessarily the entire year, you could do a month and say, buy a month for somebody. And if there's a certain cert that they want to go after or learn about a certain subject, you can just get a month for that, and then they can deep dive.
Kay, you ask a great question, and then I'll hand it to Gulo because he's been too quiet. I miss his voice in my ears. Is Kay asked the question, are there free resources for beginners? I would actually ask the question, what specifically are you looking for? For pen testing, security testing, for reverse engineering, for systems design, for orchestration? If you're looking for pen testing, try HackMe. Excellent resource. It's free, and I think they have their Advent calendar going on, which I have never jumped into, and I feel like I need to. Go on, Gulo. I need your voice. I need more of you in my life.
So I have kind of a different perspective on this. A lot of people think I'm notoriously hard to buy gifts for. Don't buy me technology. Don't buy me anything that I work on or build or anything like that, because one, I've either already bought it or I'm looking for something so specific that unless I hand you the link to it, you're not going to find anything that I want. So whether it's buying a keyboard storage, bags, anything from Hack5, I already have tons and tons and tons of that stuff, or even subscriptions. I have tons of that stuff, and I'm very particular on things. But I'm also a nerd too. Buy me a shiny object. I will sit there and fiddle with a shiny object while I'm playing with whatever it is that I'm doing, and I will have endless hours of entertainment on it. And it's just those types of simple things, especially for me, because I will already own pretty much anything that if I want something, I just go out and buy it. And usually I don't buy expensive things, but if I need a piece of tech, I will go buy it the day before Christmas, even if it's sitting under the tree, and you will murder me the next morning. Or
Yes.
buy me food.
Food's always a good one. And actually, you know what? Brings to a good one. Coffee. Coffee is always a good gift. Again, but understand who you're buying it for. You buy it for Gator, Death Wish. You buy Death Wish for me, you're dead to me. It's stale. It's old. It's way too dark. And you want good coffee, so you get me raw green coffee, and I will roast it because I'm a snob. No, okay.
I was going to say, with coffee, though, to your point, is that if you go into that next point of, hey, do you get a grinder? Do they have a grinder? Do you do pour over? What type of other cups do you? I mean, it's deep subject to where you could get really nerdy about it very quickly, and I'll hand that back off because it can go deep.
This is the trap with buying any form of gift for nerds. Right? I'm serious. This is the trap. And this is why, like, at least in my family and amongst my friends, like, we're starting to just swear off gifts because it's like, it's like, oh, that guy needs a hard drive. I'll buy him this hard drive. And then it shows up and looking at it like, yeah, it's only 7200 RPM. I was really thinking about getting a solid state. Oh, but the solid state is one of those old PCI ones. I was thinking about getting one of the M.2s. Like, and then we get into coffee, and they're like, yeah, but I kind of like light roast, and it's just like it's too hard to buy gifts for people who are nerdy about whatever it is that you're trying to buy them.
Yeah, if it's in their,
it's never gonna fit.
If it's in their passion too, like it's rough. And now there is an answer to that. It's funny. So my wife came across. So has any of you guys done? I think it's the Enneagram, Myers-Briggs or Enneagram, like one of those things. Like it's a personality test.
Yeah.
So like, what if you? I'm throwing it out on stream. What are you? I'm a 5. I found out I was a 5.
Oh, I haven't done that one. I've done like the Myers-Briggs things.
Oh, okay. Like int J or something like that, or int P. That's what I found most hackers tend to be in one of those.
Yeah, I'm an int P, I think, if I remember correctly.
Int P, yeah. Int P, int J, somewhere around there. But she found this great list for me, and I'm gonna read it off. These are the best gifts you can find for a type 5, and I was laughing because I'm like, oh gosh, I'm on this one. An audiobook subscription or a bookstore gift card. An online class subscription, financial strategy and security, noise-canceling headphones, a laptop bag, an embroidery kit, anything to keep learning about my hobbies, a nice pen, an educational cookbook, a creative project I can do with my hands like cooking or embroidery, something practical that I really need, something specific that I've already researched, money I can buy so I can buy it myself. I'm laughing because you hit the something specific that I've already researched. I think my favorite gifts I've ever gotten are things that I use every single day, but I would have never bought myself. Like to this day, the best gift I have ever gotten, and it's so stupid. It is the dumbest. I'm almost like embarrassed to admit it. It's this. It's again, not a sponsor, not anything like that. I thought it was the dumbest gift. It's a mug. It's a freaking Bluetooth mug. You don't need Bluetooth in a mug. You don't need Bluetooth in a mug. And my parents got it for me. My father got it for me. He's like, I got you a Bluetooth mug. And I died inside. I was like, who the heck? Why is there Bluetooth in the mug?
It's really funny.
It's the dumbest thing. I remember getting it. I'm like, even Melissa, a year before, had seen the thing and was like, do you want one of these? I'm like, no one needs Bluetooth in a mug. My father bought it for me, and it keeps your coffee hot. There's like a battery at the bottom. It charges it. You put hot coffee in it. It brings it down to like 145, and that's a good drinking. Like, it is amazing. I use it every single morning, but it is legitimately the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But like, It's amazing. So like, if you can find a gift that the person uses every single day but will not ever buy it themselves, that is an amazing gift.
So
you have any of those you gotten?
I've got. If you're looking for things that I've researched, I have a story with this one, and it kind of goes with the thing that I wanted for Christmas that Silk said I couldn't say on stream, so I'm only going to say half of it. The last thing that I was researching, and it's a little bit of trivia, is if you feed cocaine to bees, they will dance.
I feel like this is a piece of information that everyone needs to know.
So, I mean, you can either buy me bees or cocaine, and I should be happy in either way.
So, to be clear, what Gulo was talking about was this book, and we're not going to say it on stream, but you can absolutely read the book and see what we're talking about. So make sure to click the link.
Oh my gosh!
It's talking about how something saves Christmas.
I don't even want to know, but now I'm kind of curious. But I want to.
You want to click it.
Oh my gosh! You know, anytime I ever hear that, by the way, like you need to click this link. Immediately, I have every alarm bell in my head going off, saying I have fallen for this one
for this year.
I got to legitimately rickroll somebody this past week. Like I haven't rickrolled somebody in years, and I did it too. I was like, "That's a solid gift. Give the gift of rickrolls."
Oh gosh. I think the one, the rickrolling in one is, I'm trying to fix my headset as I'm like have way too much earwax because I can't hear you anymore. Is the one I've been laughing at is I don't even know if it's Elder Scrolls where it's the whole screen goes black and that's the person who wakes up in like the back of the cart. Like
you're awake.
Oh yeah, you're awake. Like that and rickrolling. Yes, that would be a good one. And that rickrolling over anything else. Don't yell out things for someone's phone to search after they say, "Okay, Google." I learned that problem in a previous video.
If you're going to give a rickroll, you can also just wrap a piece of paper that says you lost the game.
Yeah.
I just lost the game.
Damn it. This guy.
I'm going to do that.
Someone brought up a good point. I was going to say, someone brought up a good point. I'm looking at who it was I have this on my list, was apathy. What about hacker swag, t-shirts, hoodies? I have the DEF CON hoodie, the one can't stop the signal. And It is a really comfortable hoodie. I just got it at like XL instead of large. It's really comfortable. So I actually have the other one as a large. But they're real. So yes, hacker swag, usually like t-shirts, hoodies, like I'm good with that. But you have to know what they wear. Like I wear a lot of these like graphic tees, like true love is like a beard. It never ends, it only grows.
I have to vehemently disagree with t-shirts. I have too many t-shirts. Everyone in this industry has too many t-shirts. Like there's I have to discard t-shirts every time. Like I have a rule now. Every time I get a new t-shirt, I get rid of an old t-shirt. And they're not they're still functional t-shirts. So I just don't acquire new t-shirts. And that includes this last time I went to DEF CON, I left with 3 free t-shirts that I got from random places. And I've been going to DEF CON for over a decade, right? And that's one conference, right? I came home from the first time I went to Black Hat, I came home with a suitcase full of free t-shirts, right? Don't buy people t-shirts. There's enough t-shirts in the world that are being given out for free. Unless it's a band t-shirt that they really like. All right, I'll say this. If any of you wants to get me a Taylor Swift t-shirt, I will happily accept that.
The funny part is I feel like all the free ones I've ever gotten at the conferences have always been horrible. They've always been this horrible, itchy And again, I hesitant to say that. I'm very happy that I have multiple Goon t-shirts, and they were actually more comfortable this year. But usually t-shirts are these thick, awful, 100% I don't know, sawdust and canvas, and they were horrible. But yeah, for my wife picks really good ones. Again, anything with she goes beard and coffee. If it's any stupid phrase and beard and coffee, I'm good with it.
So
shirts are made of fire ants.
The other thing that you could go through and do when it comes to a gift that I got in the past that I've really appreciated and still use is a tactical pen. So use it all the time. It's got the space pen inside, something that I wouldn't have necessarily got myself, but I use the hell out of it all the time. There's actually a few different ones out there to where they either have multifunction tools. In fact, DEF CON just went through and put one up that's got a 6-in-1 tool. That's kind of cool. But when it comes to whether shirts or beanies, hats, or whatnot, making sure that you get the right size is kind of important, or you get them a gift card to whatever witty site. So, like if you go to Woot, or when in the past we had Think Geek, you've also got places like the Hacker Warehouse. Get a gift card to there, and they've got a handful of different shirts, so then they can pick out their own.
Mm-hmm.
So
pens are so, but again, I'll go back to what Gowrie said: is pens are remarkably personal. Like if someone buys me a pen, especially if they get me a utility pen, I wouldn't use it. Like I like fountain pens. Like I use the heck out of fountain pens, and they're so much fun. But a utility pen is just like, yeah, it's gonna sit there. Like here you go, Gulo.
Yeah.
I have a kind of a quickish story. I pissed off my family one year at Christmas. Well, I pissed them off a lot. And so one time I went over to my sister's house early in the morning, and I had a box that was wrapped, and it said "To Gulo from Santa," and I put it under the tree. And my sister's like, "You brought the box. What the hell's in the box?" She didn't trust me.
What's in the
Pizza.
box?
What's in the box?
I never trust you with boxes.
I'm like, it's a pizza. And she's like, okay, whatever. And everyone's opening up presents and stuff. And then it comes to that box. And she's like, seriously, what is in the box? I'm like, it's a pizza. And I unwrap the box and I pull out a slice of pizza and I actually start eating the pizza. And she's like, why did you bring and wrap pizza? And I go, because you take forever to cook anything. And I'm 6 hours away from eating. So I brought a pizza.
Oh my God.
Oh,
You've told me this story
level
before.
of trolling.
That's
awesome.
I'm absolutely doing that. Our family will set the time to eat at like 5:30, and it'll roll around. It's like the scene out of The Office where it's like, oh, you guys are here while the Asabuco is braising. It will be done at about 9 p.m. And you're like, I have kids. They're starving. Oh gosh.
So I what I've learned, and what I think everyone has learned so far in the stream, now that we're a little, about half an hour in, is that it is impossible to buy gifts for any of us.
Either that or you make a list, one of the two, right? So we're
literally
to your point, so we do so much research because you know what? Even talking about the whole pen thing, fountain pen versus a tactical pen. We may be doing research because we're trying to find out what best fits our use case. And if you just randomly get something versus saying, hey, do you have a list of things that you'd be wanting to get as a gift? That might be a nice other hack to go through and do it instead. And Gulo, you've got your mouth covered backwards, which is interesting. Go for it, buddy.
So there's an issue with pens. So I'm very particular on the pens that I use, and I buy very specific pens. And they're not that hard to find, and if you find what I actually like, you can buy them. The issue is not whether or not I'll like the pen, it's whether or not if you buy me a clickety pen, and you will try to murder me within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I think like, oh gosh, it's kind of sad because you start off this discussion, they're like, what is safe to buy those people in your life? And Gowrie's like, it's all fire, it's all burning, there is no winning with these people, they're terrible.
This is why I said consumables, right? Like, and you have to know, if you're buying for Silk, pre-ground coffee is the worst consumable you could buy. But like that's why we have pretty much gotten to the point where we don't buy gizmos and gadgets, and I like to put it as stuff. I don't buy stuff for people. I buy consumables. I buy booze and chocolate and experiences, and sometimes I just give them money so they can figure it out.
So Jose
You know what?
posted a question.
If Praxius buys me Folgers, by the way, there is something to be said here, and I'll hand it to Kulo. There's something to be said here. We talked about this like last week of like there's sections of coffee. You have artisan, good, unroasted coffee. And then you have like the weirdo coffees, like monsoon coffee. Praxius sent me some of that. It was very unique. I had not had it before. But again, it's stale by the time you get it. But it was still very unique. I've had the Cope Luwak. It was great. It was stale. It was by the time you get it. Like I've had some of those coffees, and those are really unique. If someone sends me like pre-ground Folgers like vanilla roast, I will absolutely roast it and have it. Like I love any coffee. All coffee is beautiful. It's not equally beautiful. But I will have any coffee. But yeah, I definitely have my preferences there. But yeah, go send me your Folgers. Bring it on, and I will review it on stream.
I have no one's gonna beat the gift that I'm sending to Silk this year, which is a packet of 100 gallery stickers for his daughter.
Oh, you know what? This is a perfect segue. Stickers, right? Getting hackers or stickers, they're gonna slap it on something, right? Whether it's a laptop, whether it's a bookcase or something else. Stickers are always, if it's anything geeky, I think it's a safe bet.
I have no idea if this is going to come up. I'm going to try and get it up there. I have no idea. Yeah, that is a picture of a Gowrie sticker on my refrigerator. I have like 15 of these things, like all over my daughter got a hold of this. So DEF CON was great. I come home. My kids are at the ages where they love stickers. Any stickers. It doesn't matter what stickers. And I don't really care what they say on them because they can't read anyway. So I'm giving them all the stickers. But out of this huge pile of stickers, like hundreds of stickers from DEF CON, there's one she grabs. I didn't push her to it, but it's all of Gowrie's stickers. But what's worse about it is there's quite a bit of them. I think I had like 20 of them. And it wasn't until like months later, like recently, I've started finding them everywhere. And they're like the obvious ones. You sit there and like, oh, they're on a light switch or something like that. But all of a sudden, Melissa's vacuuming under the couch. And all of a sudden the vacuum stops. So like, it spins up. And it's because she stuck one underneath the couch and it got sucked in the vacuum cleaner and then it got stuck inside the thing. Like, these things are a plague on our family. They keep coming up. It's like
I'm gonna send him 100 of them.
Oh, it's like the invasion of the rubber duckies here. Like they're everywhere.
Custom stickers. I buy my stickers from Moo, like Moo Cow, moo.com, not sponsored, but they are really nice, and it literally is just like upload a picture, and I think it was $100 for 500. It's totally worth it for me.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of expensive, but they're good quality.
Yeah, Moo is definitely. Moo is not a sponsor. Again, I'm saying that none of the stuff. We don't have sponsors on this channel. No one respects us enough.
This is legit.
That's where I got my cards. These ones. It's totally gonna focus. It's gonna do its thing. I got these ones. These are my business cards. My business cards, which I brought to DEF CON. And I got these from moo.com, MOO.com. I'm sure there's like an affiliate link or something, but I don't have one. It's actually pretty reasonable for what they are. But their stickers and everything, pretty good quality.
So I've gone with Sticker Mule and not been disappointed.
They're good too.
I've been pretty happy with them.
You have to get a coupon though. Like AppSumo and other ones have coupons usually for Sticker Mule. Moo is pretty... Google for a coupon. There's always like a 20% off coupon anywhere, anytime you order one of these. But yeah, moo.com. Sticker Mule is a good one too.
Actually, now that I think about this, like
this is a good fact.
Buying somebody a moo.com gift card so that they can either get business cards or custom stickers or what have you. Like that's actually a pretty legit gift. I might do that.
I have one other one. Well, I'll tease it. I'll tease it because everyone on the stream will get to experience this one at one point. I have, I think, maybe the best gift planned for you three. and I'm really excited about it. And it falls semi in line with the sticker one, where it is one of those gifts I think you could give everyone, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm hoping it's done soon, but this is one I had to wait on. But yeah, that I guess that was like a whole segue of like useless information. I'm just very excited about it. That's all that matters.
Is it a matching set of scratch and sniff thongs?
We've already done
No, it
that.
is not. It's not Gulo's Braille thong.
So we've already done the scratch and sniff. We've done the braille. We did the lotto scratcher thongs. We've had lots of thongs that we've worn for many, many days without changing. When I buy gifts for people, especially loved ones, is I sit down and I think about what it is that they want, and I come up with solutions for it. So my girlfriend, she's really into Star Wars, so I did some research into like kyber crystals, and I found tourmaline looks like kyber crystals. So I bought her a bunch of little tourmaline necklaces and rings and stuff like that for Star Wars. For my sister, her husband really likes hot sauces. So I bought him the Hot Ones set for, he's already received it, he's already eating it, and he's already burning his asshole. So I sent him the hot sauces, and I sent my sister several rolls of toilet paper. One
I mean, boudet, right? I mean, toilet paper,
So-
boudet. You're gonna get the hot sauce.
So I actually, speaking of hot sauces, this is actually super relevant because this was functionally a pretty sweet gift. A buddy of mine who is a medical lab technician, so he works in a medical lab, runs tests. I think he even had a hand in helping to test or develop one of the vaccines, and I think that's all I can say to that end. He was talking about we were talking about hot sauces because we're both kind of pepper heads, like he buys Ghost and Reaper peppers, and brought a giant bag of them over once, and I was just like, here, and that was a terrible 10 minutes of my life. But anyway, we were sitting down and we were doing the Hot Ones challenge because I've bought 2 full seasons of the Hot Ones hot sauces now, and about midway through, he was like, it'd be really fun if I could buy one of these. It's called a Sonic Cater. But it's basically, the only way to explain it is it's got a piston on the end that vibrates at around the speed of sound so that you can create emulsions. And you can use this thing to emulsify water and oil with no other additives. Like you can just make an emulsification of water and oil directly. So you can literally mix water and oil, and it's really cool.
I need that.
But these things are, I'll send you a link. I'll look it up after I finish explaining it. But these things are expensive. Like a handheld one that is used for like a not very big beaker of maybe like this size is like $800.
Whoa.
So this is one of those things where it's like, if I'm going to use it to make my own personal hot sauce, I can't really justify buying that because that's just too much money for something that's kind of hilarious. And like while we're sitting there just going through and eating the hot sauces he was talking about, he's like, I'd really like to do this. And I was like, well, why don't we split it? And it was like functionally just like, yeah, I'll buy it. Like, I'll help you buy it. It's cool. It's like, that's something like that is an awesome gift. If only because it's like, yeah, here, like I want to support you starting a new hobby. I know this is expensive, but I expect you to give me hot sauce out of it. And it's
Exactly.
like, and then it becomes an activity that you get to enjoy together. And so I think next week we're actually doing another Hot Ones challenge, and we're going to compare the sauce that he's now made using the Sonic Cater, which we're calling Nano Spice. And it's because you have little nano droplets. So he's already made a batch, and we're going to compare it and see how hot his stuff is made with Reapers and such. And he uses like authentic Indian spices and stuff in his, so it's going to be kind of interesting.
Mike?
So to your point on doing something together with somebody, unbeknownst to my kids, but approved by the wife, is we're going through making these Adafruit prop maker starter do-it-your-own self lightsaber kit, and you can get them from Adafruit. The kit costs $50. You have to get your own blade and the LEDs, but the rest of the kit comes with everything else that you need for like $50. And you can either get the parts 3D printed, see ya. But being able to have that experience, and if we're switching to like kids, have any of you guys ever heard of a KiwiCo?
Oh yeah.
I've heard of them. I think I don't know what it is though.
So they are like STEM boxes for kids, and they're freaking fantastic. And it's for different age groups as well. So if you're looking for something for kids to get them into anything on the STEM side of the house, check them out. Totally worth it.
Again, not a sponsor. If they want to sponsor us, they can absolutely send us money. I'm good with this, or coffee, or hot sauce. Any of these things, I'm good with being paid in. It's actually, speaking of like sponsors, because I think it's kind of just I think it's an interesting segue. Since I started the YouTube channel, I have gotten like random email requests from what look like, we'll say, spam sponsors. Where I'm guessing they just send it out to like a gazillion people. But the latest one was like, it looked like a Chinese manufacturer of like espresso machines. And I'm just curious and like one of them was a Bluetooth connection, like which had Bluetooth in it. And I'm thinking to myself, I think I might reach back out to them and just say, can you send me one for free? And they're going to, I don't know how they do sponsorship, but there's no way they've watched our channel who have any idea what we do. But they're like, can you imagine? They're going to send me like a Bluetooth connected espresso machine and expect us not to take this thing apart.
I was going to say 0% chance we put this on any of our personal networks with it coming directly from China. Like, not happening.
Like, I just don't understand that.
Disassembly required.
I have no idea how these sponsorships work. I've never tried one. I don't reach out to them. But do you just like they reach out and be like, yeah, I'll do a sponsorship. Please send me all your free stuff. I will be sure not to reverse engineer it on stream.
Well, this is actually, I think Linus Tech Tips literally does this though, right? Like he works directly with a bunch of these big companies and they just send him like engineering parts knowing that he's going to take them apart. Like he's
and
literally, and drop it. Like he's gotten like high-end graphics cards and high-end Intel chips and just been like, all right, let's decap this now. And he's like, if Intel thought we weren't going to do this, they should have someone watch our channel. So and he keeps getting them. So, it could be if I imagine you were the person reaching out and you had engineered a product that you want to send to a YouTube channel, especially a YouTube channel like this. If you're reaching out and doing these types of sponsorships, you have to be at least somewhat proud of what you've made, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't even be trying to, actively offer sponsorships. You would just be doing the standard route of buying ads and things.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't support ad roll right now. I haven't got enough hours. So maybe they're so desperate to get on our channel. This is the only way they can do it.
I'm just seeing, I'm literally picturing Silk now just sitting there going, and we have no sponsors. And because we have no sponsors, we are poor. But these are the best things ever. And they should send. That's how I picture Silk sponsorship.
You get the Haxar flakes going on here.
Oh, gosh.
With your included Nmap disk. I mean, yeah, come on.
I think this actually comes to another funny gift. So we're talking about, I think stickers is a great one. Moo.com. I think like Fiverr actually would be another really good gift. Just because there's so many random projects you can do on there. And like that's the thing is I think anytime you do Fiverr or any of these like random projects, you don't want to spend money. Like you don't. But like I think giving someone money, which you can say, here's money, you can only spend it on yourself. Like that is actually a great gift.
Yeah. I concur 100% with that.
Concur.
Because then you're able to go any place with it, and whether it's trying to get more books for yourself, again, you're going back to something specific for you that you've been doing the research on, which is great. So I've been dropping links as much as we can. There are 2 books that I do want to drop specifically for my line of work. So you've got the Ansible for Devops for folks who are interested. It's not very expensive, and the cool thing is that they constantly update this book if you get the digital edition. So this is made by Jeff Gerling. If you're just getting into Ansible or anything automation and or Raspberry Pis, his channel is freaking crazy good. I'd definitely suggest it. The other one is by one of the guys in the InfoSec Twitterverse that goes by Da667. So he's just one bit off of being evil. Is the Avatar 2 book, also known as the Building Virtual Machine Labs. If you're just getting into building infrastructure, these books are not very expensive. You can toggle the slider on how much the author gets, but these are some of the best books to get you up and running, and they're not expensive. You get up and lots of fun. A couple of links there in the chat.
I'll throw one in too. It's not a learning book. It's just one that all of us have read, and if you haven't read it, you absolutely should. And it's Damon and Freedom by Daniel Suarez. They're fiction books. Again, it's one of those ones. Is if you ever, I'm gonna have to reach out. I'm like, can you sponsor our channel? Actually, just for like $1. For $1, you can buy a segment on our channel. No, it's Damon and Freedom are just like they're in my top 10 books, top 5, I guess. Fiction book. If you're in like hacker, cyber, I don't know, just awesome. Read Damon, Freedom. Audible is really good. Jeff Gerner, who does the voice for it, is fantastic. But yeah, they're not learning books. You won't learn anything from them, but they do get you. I don't know. They get you in that hacker mindset a little bit of like, want to take over the world. With that, what parting thoughts do you got?
So Apathy posted about Steam games, and I would say this is the same for Audible as well. Don't buy a Steam game, buy them a gift card for there.
Yeah.
You go and you buy a $50 gift card. If you sit on that for a couple of weeks, there's going to be a sale, and you can pick up a crap ton of games on Steam. Mm-hmm. I listen to tons of audiobooks all the time, and Damon and Freedom are great ones. The Bobaverse is awesome. And the dude that wrote The Martian just came out with a new book called Hail Mary. If you liked The Martian and you're kind of like sci-fi-ish stuff, Hail Mary is phenomenal. It's one of the best books I've read in a while now.
I would say, all right, I just started Bobaverse and it's entertaining. What I'll say about Hail Mary is that the audiobook, if you're reading the physical book, you are cheating yourself. The audiobook is entertaining as hell. And I can't say why, because there's a very specific spoiler, but there is a very specific part of the audiobook that is very consistent through about the second half it's not present in the physical medium. You have to listen to the way that they have produced this. It is a really good production.
Yeah, it's one of those. I do Audible, so it's like one of those things. Is every once in a while, like you get like one of these readers who are just fantastic. With that, my gosh, we've covered a lot. Hopefully this was helpful. If not, it was fun for us. And there's that Gator.
So go learn something new, folks. There's always projects, and I like how everybody else brought up on here about creating an experience or experiencing something with somebody that you love. So if you can help bring that to the Christmas giving holiday, that would be awesome. Go enable that. With that, let's hand it off to Gallery, usually over here.
I don't know how to sign off. I never know how to sign off. By default, if you can't figure out what to buy people, buy consumables. Right, food, Audible credits, things like that. Things that say I want to feed. Feeding people is always a safe gift, in my opinion.
But understand that we're all snobby enough to judge whatever you give us.
Yeah, I mean that's
especially if it's coffee.
That's the problem with buying. That's the problem with buying gifts for nerds. Just expect to be judged.
What about you, Gulo?
I need cocaine and bees. All of them.
Circle.
And with that, we're demonetized. Not that we were to begin with. As always, it is so good to hang out with you. I have a fair warning for anyone watching. This month's about to get weird. I'm setting myself, and this isn't like a declarative thing like, hey, I'm letting everyone know I have a goal this month. No, I'm going to try and push out a ton of content. So that's not really a, hey, everyone, here's my goal. That's just fair warning that your stream is probably going to just get blasted with weird videos. So with that, I love talking with you all. So many people in chat. I love it. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful time of year. And as always, hack on.